I want to say thank you to each of you for attending our civic engagement event, Thriving Cities, Indigenous Spaces in the 21st Century. This is sponsored locally by Rock the Native Vote, a grassroots effort for voter engagement for Native peoples in the greater Oklahoma City area. This voter engagement started in 2000 as an effort to highlight the importance of voting and being engaged in issues that confront us. Our latest funding is from the National Urban Indian Family Coalition, located in Seattle, Washington. This organization elevates a national voice for American Indians and Alaska Natives living in urban communities and sustains Indigenous values and culture through a strong network of urban Indian organizations. There are over 16 Native urban organizations doing something similar across the country, from Phoenix, Arizona to Portland, Oregon. We recently added Tulsa, Oklahoma to our work. Our purpose for this event is to gather elected officials and urban Native nonprofits to talk about what is going on in Indian country and how we are addressing these issues, and to also seek support for our current challenges regarding education, healthcare, social justice, and more. Statistics show that about 70% of all Native folk live in urban areas. Unlike other cities, Oklahoma City is not in the tribal jurisdiction of any tribes. That presents challenges of tribal support, unlike places like the city of Tulsa, where 3 tribes have jurisdiction. Perhaps that contributes to many Native folk in Oklahoma City feeling like we have to work harder to be noticed and included. That is why many of the nonprofits present today were created to fill a niche that is not filled by other entities. Last year, after the presidential elections, many of our tribal communities were aghast, disappointed, and hurt with this image from CNN. They were showing percentages of exit polls of groups that voted in the elections. At the top of the poll, it listed white, Latino, black, and near the bottom were the words something else, followed by Asians. Social media lit up, and Indigenous folk around the country began to share comments about being called something else. Although our tribal communities felt a variety of emotions, most of us were not surprised. It happens every single day in reports from the government, public entities, the church, and even here in Oklahoma City. In early 2020, the city of Oklahoma City invited us to attend an event to kick off their attempt to engage racial ethnic persons to be counted for Census 2020. Native Americans in Oklahoma City and across the country were largely undercounted in 2010. Rock the Native Vote partnered with the National Urban Indian Family Coalition to work on that challenge. When I showed up for the meeting, there were posters and flyers on the tables. One of the organizers said, "Pick up your posters and flyers and take as many as you want." So I looked and found posters for the African American community, the Asian community, Hispanic Latino community, the LGBTQ community, and I did not see anything for the Native community. I looked again thinking I had overlooked it and had not. We had simply been left out. As a city that has a significant Native population, a mayor who's a member of the Osage Nation, I asked about the posters and was told, "Well, maybe you can help us work on that." The meeting went on, and I became more frustrated as the presentation began, and we were not included anywhere. After the meeting, the media person for the city of Oklahoma City came and asked if I would work with them to produce our census posters, which we did. From that point on, we worked with the department, focusing on census to help advocate wherever we could. We're glad to hear that the recent census report shows an increase in the population of the city of Oklahoma City, and we are thankful to have contributed to that increase. I share this example to show the illustration of how Native organizations and entities have worked to advocate for ourselves when others would not. This is the resiliency and determination of so many who work towards the greater goods of our tribal citizens in Oklahoma City. This is one of our greatest values of the understanding of community. We do not look out for number one, but rather we make decisions on how they will affect the entire community. There are so many great people and organizations that are active and doing great work in ministry in Oklahoma City. Many of them are present today at this event, and I'd like to take a moment to highlight just a few of those. The Oklahoma City Indian Clinic began in the early 70s when a Native veteran returned home to Oklahoma City and tired of traveling miles for health care in his tribal area. He connected with the then young Dr. Everett Rhodes, who heard his concern, and they addressed the issue by starting a small clinic in a room at a small Indian Methodist church near downtown Oklahoma City. Student doctors and others volunteered, and that grew into what is now a 3-building campus serving close to 21,000 Native Americans.
CO. Hello, my name is Robin Sunday Allen. I'm a citizen of the Cherokee Nation, and I serve as the CEO of the Oklahoma City Indian Clinic. The Oklahoma City Indian Clinic is a nonprofit 501c3 that serves members of any federally recognized tribe. We have been incorporated as a nonprofit since 1974 and have seen substantial growth since that time. We currently have a patient population of just over 21,000 and have grown over the past 10 years from operating in 26,000 square feet of space to now having a campus with 3 buildings with over 110,000 square feet of space. Our clinic is fully accredited by the Accreditation Association for Ambulatory Healthcare as a patient-centered medical home and dental home. It is important to us to have standards in place to provide evidence-based care so our patients know that they are receiving the best health care possible. Our clinic has been recognized nationally as a top health care provider in Indian country and beyond. Our mission is to provide excellent health care to American Indians, and our vision is to be the national model for American Indian health care. Our biggest asset is those we serve. We are able to provide robust clinical services that include pediatrics, family medicine, and some specialty care. Behavioral health services and psychiatric care are also available. Most recently, we formed a partnership with Integris Baptist Hospital so that we can deliver babies there and provide that baby with healthcare services that last a lifetime. Our staff of nearly 330 professionals strive to meet our mission every day. During COVID-19, we have been able to pivot our business model and continue our services by utilizing telehealth. We extended our services to include non-Indian patients by providing COVID-19 vaccines to over 10,000 citizens in Oklahoma City. The partnerships we have built in Oklahoma City have continued to contribute to our success. We were able to complete a $2.5 million capital campaign that was funded by tribes, individual donors, and the philanthropic community in Oklahoma and Oklahoma City. We partner daily with other area nonprofits, civic organizations, churches, and schools and others. Because we have grown into a campus setting, we have noticed that the patients that use public transportation or have any kind of disability are at a major disadvantage when navigating our buildings. Having sidewalks between our buildings on West Reno and South Ann Arbor would increase our safety while also promoting physical activity for those of us that are able to walk between buildings on the campus. I give tours of our facilities to visitors, and especially to those that are from out of town. I mention that only in Oklahoma City would we get in our cars to travel 1/10 of a mile. Most major cities have sidewalks and bus stops that are user-friendly. Crossing the street at Reno and Ann Arbor is treacherous, to say the least. I know that you, Mayor, and the City Council are working diligently to improve public transportation and extend sidewalks throughout the metropolitan area, and we are very thankful for those efforts. We do hope that soon we will see those sidewalks extended in our area and that a bus stop on the south side of Reno, near the corner of Reno and Ann Arbor, will be a part of the city's infrastructure. We are proud to be the provider of choice to the 21,000 American Indians that primarily live in the metro area. We hope to continue to be a key driver to improve the health status of not only the American Indian population, but the entire community. We know that it takes all of us in public health to have a healthy, thriving community, and that is exactly what we want for our city. Thank you.
Education has always been important to our Native peoples. The Oklahoma City Public Schools Native American Student Services Program is very active and is an important part of our community. They not only look after the needs of our students, but families as well. They are doing some great work. Dr. Star Yellowfish is the director of the program.
CO, my name is Dr. Star Yellowfish, and I'm the Director of Native American Student Services. I have worked with our Native students and families in Oklahoma City Public Schools for 14 years. Oklahoma City Public Schools has about 2,500 Native students who represent 72 tribes. We have students and families not only from Oklahoma, but from all over the country. From my experience, working with students and families and being active in the education system in Oklahoma, I believe there are 3 major challenges facing our Native students and families, specifically in the Oklahoma City area. The first challenge is providing avenues and opportunities for Native people to connect to their tribal communities and their tribes. Our Native students and parents want to have a connection with their tribes and their tribal communities, but all our tribal headquarters are outside of the Oklahoma City limits. We have found that students who have built that tribal connection have an increase in self-esteem and tribal identity that translates well in the classroom. A second challenge is educating others about Native people and culture. Teachers, all students, and the general public should know basic facts about tribes and Native history in our state. The third biggest challenge I see for our students and families in the Oklahoma City metro area is access to tribal resources or community resources. This became very apparent during the pandemic when families needed items we could not provide. We know that tribes offer plenty of services to their tribal members, but how can we help our students and families access those services when we are here and tribes are out there? When transportation, gas, and time are an issue, traveling 1 to 3 hours during a workday can be almost impossible. Oklahoma City Native American Student Services has recognized these challenges, so we've built our department to combat some of these barriers. Our NAS department offers a number of programs and events so that students can connect and learn about their tribe. We want all our Native students to be proud of who they are as a Native person. NAS has programs like cultural classes, our annual art show, family cultural nights, after-school programs, and our annual Stomp Dance and Powwow, just to name a few. We recently started a youth council called the Indigenous Voices Youth Council to begin to develop leaders in our Native youth and to include their voice in designing our programs. To help educate others about Native people, we started with our teachers. We offer a summer teacher training program specifically designed to learn about Native culture and history. OKCPS NAS has also written 3 curriculum lesson plan booklets that are geared for teachers. The lesson plan booklets cover Thanksgiving, Oklahoma history, Native topics, and famous Native people, both past and present. Finally, to help students connect with their tribes, we invite tribes to come work with our students in our schools. We have built strong relationships with many tribes, but we still have the issue of accessibility and our families living outside of tribal boundaries. During the pandemic, we started a program called Families Helping Families, where we ask our community and other families in our district to donate items to our more vulnerable families. Families needed items like detergent, hygiene products, pantry food items, and clothing. These are items we could not purchase from our department. It was such a success that it is a program that we will continue as long as the need is there. I would love to see Oklahoma City as a model for how to embrace and promote Native people and culture. One thing we could do in the future is to build an urban Native center. This could be a place where Native families could go to get help, find resources, or just to fellowship. Tribes could have offices there or representatives so that families don't have to travel so far, just to do paperwork or ask a question. I would also like to see Oklahoma City celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day on a grander scale. There should be a parade, a speaker series, an art market, a food market. I mean, this is Oklahoma. And to educate others about Native past, present, and future, I would love to see more educational pieces around the city. Even if it's a small sign that says, "Did you know?" and then state facts about Native culture and history near any of our attraction sites. I'm proud to be Native, I'm proud to be from Oklahoma City, and I'm proud to be from the Oklahoma City Public School District. I know that we have an awesome mayor, dedicated city council members, and that someday other cities will say, "Wow, look at what Oklahoma City does. They are champions for Native people and culture." Thank you, Wado.
We're also fortunate to now include the Sovereign Community School, a Native American charter school that is in its 3rd year in Oklahoma City, with a projected enrollment near 150 students. Like the Oklahoma City Native Student Services Program, they have talented, bright Native students that will help shape the future of this great city. One of the organizations I discovered just a few months ago is the Diversion Hub. Diversion Hub is located in Midtown, Oklahoma City, and is a comprehensive one-stop network dedicated to assisting justice-involved individuals in Oklahoma City. They work with several partners to help individuals in many areas. Their cases include many Native Americans who turn to them for help. In addition to their casework, they host a talking circle once a month and it provides great support for Native folk.
Megan Taylor, I am an attorney and Director of Programs at Diversion Hub.
My name is Robert Levi Parham, P-A-R-H-A-M. I'm full-blooded Sac-and-Fox Oto.
So Diversion Hub is a one-stop shop for individuals impacted and affected by the criminal justice system here in Oklahoma County. We serve individuals that are going to court in Oklahoma County or Oklahoma City Municipal, or those that are given probation. And so our goal is to help navigate the justice system by connecting those individuals to services they need to be successful.
I was on the streets and I had an alcohol problem, and
when we were developing what we have right now as the Diversion Hub, we realized one of the biggest barriers was access to these services, right? So we know that in Oklahoma City, if you need housing, employment, education, substance abuse, mental health, you're going all across town.
I've now I'm in housing now, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, they've helped me out. They've helped me help myself out. And so I live right across the street.
And so how do we increase access for our individuals to help them be successful is by bringing them under one roof. And so the model that we have brings those experts, brings those community members, instead of our team having to become experts in everything, which we know is a disproven model. We bring those community partners under one roof, and then we increase the access that clients that come to Diversion Hub have with those expert agencies.
Oh, housing, clothing, helped me get my IDs back, because I didn't have nothing to begin with. Zero. Right? I couldn't even check into a motel. But yeah, I got all that back. Just, again, they've helped me to help myself.
So justice navigation and case management are kind of the two Diversion Hub programs. And then we have all of the experts in the community under our roof that we connect with, right? So we've got housing partners, we've got employment partners, we've got state benefit partners, transportation, bail for individuals that are indigent and can't get out. All of these partners are here and work closely with our team. So when a client comes and there's housing insecurity, which we see so often with individuals in the criminal justice system, or transportation, or truly just a lack of knowledge on what they need to do to be compliant with the court, we're able to have that individual come here, and those partners come in to help provide that assistance.
You know, again, you've got to want to try to help yourself from being down there. Come on. Just like, hey, I won't never get the key to the city, but I'm better than I used to be.
When Robert came here the first time, he was able to meet with his case manager, meet with his housing navigator, meet with his justice navigator. All of them work together to help him build a successful plan for the future.
Hey, when I come in here, it's all, hey, Robert, they know me.
Something that is important for us is making sure that we're culturally competent, and we know that we're connecting folks to services and resources that are going to work for them, that they want, and that they're going to be successful with.
I would just say you're already helping enough, but again, help them to help themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because no one can do it but you. You know what I'm saying?
We opened the doors to the location we're at right now for Diversion Hub June, right when the pandemic was starting. And so unfortunately the criminal justice system never really slowed down. And so we saw the need increasing over time, especially for housing. So we knew there was a housing insecurity for a lot of our clients. The pandemic has only bolstered that. And so emergency housing has been a really big need, but also permanent housing. And so we have a lot of clients that come through that are either couch surfing or on the streets, And it's pretty impossible to be set up for success when it comes to showing up to court, paying your fees and fines, doing what you need to do for court-ordered conditions if you don't have a roof over your head, a safe place to stay.
Diversion Hub, everybody here treated me with respect. Man, again, when I was there.
So when we opened our doors, we opened with a couple hundred clients because we had previously been doing work out of the public defender's office. We waiver anywhere between 700 and 800 clients. Right now we're at 750 clients. So we have high volume because we are low barrier. So we have about 110 of those are Native American clients right now.
These few stories are just a handful of the great work and service for Native Americans in the Oklahoma City area. We're excited about the grand opening of the First American Museum. It is a beautiful place, and it will be the place to visit for this region. We are pleased with the continued work of Native persons to bring attention to the partial story of the land run of Oklahoma City. We are thankful that the factual story will be told at the monument someday along the river. I am so thankful to be able to partner and work and support these entities. Each of these groups and others do great work for Native Americans in the greater Oklahoma City area and beyond. One of our greatest values of Indigenous peoples is the understanding of community. Indigenous peoples understand that decisions made in their lives do not just affect one person, but they are made knowing they affect the entire community. We understand our community as the whole world. We care for all people as our culture dictates. Orville Looking Horse is a 19th generation keeper of the sacred white buffalo calf pipe bundle. He was one of the spiritual leaders for the Standing Rock movement and people. He shared these words with the people there that I think are words that are just right for us today as we strive to do what is right for one another. He said, each of us is put here in this time and place to personally decide the future of humankind. Did you think the Creator would create unnecessary people in a time of such terrible danger? Know that you yourself are essential to this world. Understand both the blessing and the burden of that. You yourself are desperately needed to save the soul of this world. Did you think you were put here for something less? In a sacred hoop of life, he said, there's no beginning and no end. You alone, and only you, can make this crucial choice to walk in honor or to dishonor your relatives. On your decision depends the fate of the entire world. Thank you all for joining together to walk in honor for all our relations.